Hey guys, welcome back to another video for the channel. This time it is the one that I've been promising you for a while, and we're going to talk about the first 6 issues of Strangehaven by Gary Spencer Milledge. Alright, so Strangehaven was a UK comic series that was independently published by Biogenesis Press, which was a company that Gary Spencer Milledge himself set up, and it tells the story of a little small town. It's very similar to Twin Peaks and some of the stranger TV shows at that time, The Prisoner, things like that. The Prisoner happened in the 60s, but Twin Peaks was late 80s, early 90s, and this came out in 1995, so it was a little late to the party, but not terribly so. So it tells the story of Alex Hunter, who is traveling on a holiday in the UK and ends up having a car accident and wakes up in the town of Strangehaven. And he's in this doctor's office, and he's getting to meet the doctor and the doctor's nursing assistant, who is called Janie. The artwork on this first issue is not terrible. It's really not. It's interesting for black and white, but I will tell you this, even in the 6 issues that I have seen thus far, you can tell that Gary Spencer Milledge worked very hard to update his style, update his artwork. And I don't mean going from this kind of style to, say, a McFarlane era style or something like that, but I just mean that his images got more detailed because you can see shadowing, you can see detail, you can see things like that in these images, but they're also somewhat simple. The anatomy is somewhat simple, and it's not extremely detailed. But I'm not going to go through every single issue here in this first 6 issues. I'm not going to break them down panel by panel or anything like that. But you have different characters. So you have Jeremy, and you've got Mr. Megaron. And Mr. Megaron is supposed to be of an indigenous Indian species from the Amazon. And Jeremy is coming to help him build some new bookshelves in his home and things like that. And then you've got, you've got Janie there again, and then you've got Jeremy. And so it's kind of like a small town, like a Cheers, literally, where everybody knows your name. If you grew up in a small town environment, then you get the idea that everybody knows what's going on, you know, whether it's your business or your aunt's business or, you know, whatever. Everybody knows what's going on in a small town. And one of the more interesting sections in here is when Megaron is explaining about the Zingu people, which is where he is from. That's the tribe that he was with originally. And it says the Zingu is one of, the Zingu River is one of the Amazon's tributaries. So his people were called the Mehinaku. And he starts telling Jeremy about his upbringing and how he was trying to become a shaman and things like that. And it does have some painted imagery that I hopefully scanned through quickly enough that it didn't offend anybody. But he's telling him the history of his tribe and telling him about these interesting aspects about how he was, using medicine and different potions and things like that to enter altered states. And as it goes along, Jeremy's father becomes concerned that Mr. Meg has ill intentions. But we have yet to see exactly what his intentions are. But he has, as it goes on through the series, it shows that he has taken a liking to Jeremy for whatever reason. Whether or not that's, like I said, ill-intentioned or not, we're not real sure just yet. Not in these first 6 issues. But that was the first issue, and just to give you a spoiler, but I mean, this is almost 30 years on now, so it really shouldn't be a spoiler to anybody who has the internet. At the end of it, Alex's car is repaired after the wreck, and he says, I think I'm going to be heading on. Janie has talked to him about a job as a school teacher, because he mentioned that he was a school teacher back home where he came from. And she said, well, maybe you could take up that job. And he said, well, I appreciate it, but I need to be moving on. My wife and I just split up not too long ago, and I would really like to just take a holiday and clear my head. And that's really what this is about. And like I said, at the end of it, that first issue, then it looks like Alex is going to leave. And he goes to leave, and the car, which seems to be in immaculate shape, keeps overheating. And then he took a turn and thought he was headed away from Strangehaven and ended up right back at the end. So Janie seems to be really intent on this relationship between the two of them, and comes on extremely strong. Not to hurt him, but she's young and impulsive, and that's just the way that she feels. And so as you get it figured out and things begin to build, then this is actually Janie's father, and he is the principal at the school. And so by this third issue, Alex has a job at the school and is going to start in the next semester. So, like I said, it's one of those things where he didn't want to be there. He tried to leave as quickly as possible. Turns out there's a hairline crack in the engine block that another character mentions to him. And so he has to go get that repaired before he can try to go again. And so at this point in the series, and with issue 4 here, then you've got this cover here, and I'll crack this open so that we can move off of this image. But we'll look at Gary's artwork and how it has progressed from the first issue, because it was very simplistic, like I said, in its nature with that first issue. But he's doing fully painted covers. This is issue number 4, so we're up to June 1996. So that's the thing with independent books. See, here's Megaron again. You know, and you can see the detail in the wings and in the wingspan. And you can see that his shading and detail with characters is getting better, as is his detail just overall with artwork. And I always like to see a series where, you know, if they did start off strong, then they just keep getting better. So they come back from their flying trip, Megaron and Jeremy, and he's offering him some more tea. And here we have a strange sequence about fish. And here is Alex talking to the mechanic that repaired his car originally. And again, you can see the growth of Gary and his artwork through these pages. So Alex is working in this issue towards taking a trip to get away from Strangehaven, not to try to leave, but just to go on a little holiday. Like, that was his original intention, was to go take a holiday. And he just wants to go out. He says, I was looking for a map of the local area, preferably an ordnance survey map or something similar. And so this guy behind the counter goes to look. And he says, I'll go back out back and see if I've got one. He did not. So you got this sequence here. Like I said, it's very detailed and almost photorealistic at this point, because I'm really starting to think, and I haven't done as much research on this series as I should, but I'm starting to think that he did have photo references for some of these characters, if not all, so that would allow him to have more realistic body posture and just make it look right, if you can use that term. So these two get into a fight because it's husband and ex-husband and wife. Alex checks on her. And one of her fingernails got broken, and so this is the cop from the original issue. It is much more detailed drawn rather than simply drawn. And here's the alien, the self-proclaimed alien that saw the damage to his car, but he never takes his sunglasses off because he says that his eyes are not accustomed to the light, even if it's dim light. So here is Jeremy's father confronting Megaron, saying, you know, I don't know what your intention is with my son, but... And Megaron says, I assure you are merely establishing a close platonic friendship. Your fears are without foundation. And Bill says, don't mess with me. And here we've got Susie and Janie. And she's trying to teach Janie to be seductive for her date night with Alex. And meanwhile, we find out that the cop might not be quite as friendly as he comes off, because he's got a jar here of Veronica's fingernail. So it seems like maybe he's following her around or something like that. And we have this really cool painted cover with Megaron doing some archery. Like I said, this series is really interesting as far as the covers go and things of that nature. And come on, phone. Catch up to me now. Game has frozen. There we go. It looks like it's finally moving again. So here's a picture of the doctor. And we have this strange cult which has been doing a ritual throughout the first couple of issues, initiating someone into their cult. Come out of there. Alright, so here's number 6, and we're now up to May of 1997. So like I said, the book's not coming out as regularly as Spider-Man would or something like that. But again, you can see how the artwork continues to grow along with the story. And Peter, who is married to one of the other residents of Strangehaven, but is sleeping with Susie, finds out that something's wrong with him at the doctor, but it's not explicitly said what it is. And so Pete and Susie are talking, and she's getting frustrated because she wants Pete all to herself. And here's Jeremy and Megaron again. And now we've got the doctor and his brother George. Apparently George is an odd duck, kind of the black sheep of the family. And he's starting to lose at chess, so then he just screams and throws the chess pieces. And he said, "You get out of life what you put into it. We both had opportunities, and I took mine, and you blew yours." Now here, at this strange castle, then we have this ceremony going on. Like I said, it looks as though it's almost Masonic or something of that nature. And they have some vested interest in whether or not Alex has stayed in the town, but it's not quite clear exactly what their interest is yet, or why they want to keep tabs on Alex Hunter and why he's staying there. And here is the lady, Miss McCready, who had the B&B that Alex stayed in when he first got there, because there really wasn't a doctor's office or a hospital. So she's like, what are you doing out so late? And she's mad. Janie is upset because their date, her and Alex's date, didn't go as planned. She wore a seductive dress for him. She cooked dinner for him. She put the time in to figure out what to make, like chicken, and how to make it, and it didn't go the way she wanted. So she got upset, and she told him, "Well, you go ahead and go on your trip, and don't expect me to be here when you get back." So this is Miss McReady talking about her relationship, and that she had a husband, and then he got shot down in his plane, and he never came home. They never found the body or anything like that. And so issue 6 ends with these folks saying, hey, somebody is a traitor and they've given away secrets of our knight's order. And so, death to the traitor, they say. So I know I went through that relatively quickly, but it's really an intriguing story. It's really an intriguing title. Like I said, I've got the entire 18-issue run, and then it moved over into a magazine format with other stories in a magazine called Meanwhile. And I've got some of those, but not all of those. So it was originally supposed to be 24 issues as a comic, and then it turned into 18 issues of a regular comic series, and then kind of continued on in Meanwhile, and then just finished up last year, I believe. So if you've never tried Strangehaven, I would recommend it. I would say that it's interesting if you like murder mysteries, or if you like mysteries in general, because why can't Alex leave? Why can't he go home again? Why is he stuck in Strangehaven? Who are these mysterious knights, and why are they interested in anything that he does? It's a really well put together story by one man who did the artwork. Now, like I said, there was no coloring. It was all black and white. But I still have to give him his props for these painted covers and things like that, because it took a lot of time and it took a lot of effort to make these things and to create this whole world out of nothing. That's the hard part. If you go and you write and draw Spider-Man, or even write Spider-Man, his world is already built. You have the building blocks and the foundation of who Peter Parker is, who his cast of characters are. Mary Jane is not going to act out of the way of how she's supposed to act. Harry Osborn is not going to just all of a sudden turn on a dime as far as his emotional standpoint of who he is. He'll change emotionally because of becoming the Green Goblin or not becoming the Green Goblin or whatever, but he's not going to change who he fundamentally has always been as a character. Building your entire world and all of these different characters together, Miss McReady, the cop, Bill's family, Janie, Jeremy, Alex Hunter, all of these characters. And they're all brought to life. They're not just, characters in some random story. They actually feel as though they are real characters that you could go to this place called Strangehaven and interact with. And to me, that's the highest praise, that you can build something out of nothing, out of literally nothing, and you can build something that intrigues people and brings them back month in and month out, or in this case, year in and year out. So, thanks for joining me on this little trip through Strangehaven. I'm going to try to read 7 through 12 in the next few days, and once I read those issues, then I will come back with Strangehaven Part 2, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more detailed than Strangehaven Part 1, but it's building. So it's not that I don't want to give a lot away. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of building in these first 6 issues. So hopefully some solid walls and foundations will be set by issue 7 through 12, that we can really get into the meat and potatoes of this story and find out why Strangehaven has got such a hold on Alex, why he can't leave, why, what twists and turns are there in Janie and Alex's relationship, if there is one, and just go from there. So, thanks for joining me again. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please like and subscribe to the channel so that you can catch the next video. Thanks for always being supportive, and we'll catch you in the next one.